भैया थोड़ा सा, तो we'll adjust that to in some other day. Okay. So AS16, borrowing cost. The borrowing cost, you know what is borrowing cost? Borrowing cost means what? Interest cost or any other cost which are in connection with borrowing. Means any cost incurred in connection with borrowing are borrowing cost. Means can I say in this way, any cost incurred in connection with equity are not borrowing cost. When I say equity, equity include preference share capital also. Means preference dividend are not borrowing cost. Preference dividend are not borrowing cost. Got this point? So only in connection with borrowing. So borrowing cost does not include actual or imputed cost of owner capital, that is equity and preference share capital. So any cost of equity, any cost of preference share capital are not borrowing cost. So borrowing costs include interest cost on borrowing. Apart from that, that also includes some other cost also. Other cost will be discount on issue of debentures or bond. Discount on issue of debentures or bond. It will be premium on redemption of debentures or bond. Premium on redemption of debenture or bond means when you are redeeming debentures or bonds, whatever premium amount you are paying, that is also cost. It can be any other ancillary cost in connection with borrowing. Ancillary cost means, for example, underwriting commission. Suppose you issue debenture, you know about underwriting commission? If for issue of debenture, some underwriting commission paid, or you paid some cost for availing loan, just brokerage cost, that become ancillary cost, that will be also borrowing cost. It will also include any finance charges in respect of asset acquired under finance lease, that will be as per AS19. Means in the books of lessee, there will be some interest expense, that will be also borrowing cost, but that will be considered in that chapter. Okay. Then last, it will also include some exchange difference. Exchange difference is AS11. AS11. So exchange difference from foreign currency borrowing, to the extent that they are regarded as an adjustment to interest cost. This point I will explain at the end. Means this is very important point from examination perspective, but I will explain at the end. Okay. Means right now I will say from practical question point of view, they give only interest cost. Till now they have not given any question of this nature. Where they have given discount, premium, they have not given any question of this nature. But you should know any amortization of discount on issue of debenture, any amortization of premium on redemption of debenture, any amortization of ancillary cost will be also a part of borrowing cost. But till now no question of this nature has been given in ICA exam. Interest cost, you all know how to calculate interest cost. Okay? Correct. Now the objective of this chapter is to identify the accounting treatment of borrowing cost. So either borrowing cost will be capitalized to the cost of asset, or it will be charged to PL as an expense. So when to capitalize, that we need to understand. So what AS16 says, that if the borrowing cost is directly attributable, once again the word is directly attributable, to what? To the construction, acquisition or production, either construction or acquisition or production. Normally production we use for inventory, construction we use for PP, etc. So construction, acquisition or production of a qualifying asset. Means all assets are not qualifying asset. It means we need to understand which asset will be qualified for capitalization. So any asset which is qualified for capitalization will be qualifying asset. So which asset are qualifying asset? So what they said, any asset which takes substantial period of time. How much time? Substantial period of time for getting ready for its intended use or sale. Once again, use means what? It can be PP, it can be intangible asset. Sale means it can be inventory. So one thing is clear, that inventory can be also a qualifying asset. One thing is clear. So any asset which takes substantial period of time are qualifying asset. Now, what is this substantial period of time? For that one explanation has been given. So what explanation has been given? Ki any asset which is taking more than 12 months or 1 year for getting ready will be what? Qualifying asset. So any asset which takes more than 12 months will be always qualifying asset. What does it mean? Any asset which is taking less than 12 months? Any asset which takes less than 12 months? Whether it will be a qualifying asset, it is not a qualifying asset. No. If you are If you are saying it is not a qualifying asset, it is not correct. It depends. Means they have given one limit. They have given one benchmark. Correct? If any asset is taking more than 12 months, it will be always qualifying asset. But if any asset is taking less than 12 months, it depends upon the facts and circumstances. Then apply judgment. Means judgment means assumption from examination point of view. You do apply assumption. Got this point? Correct. Are you able to understand? So if any asset taking more than 12 months, no assumption required, it will be always qualifying asset. But if any asset is taking less than 12 months, then based on the information given the question, it may or may not be considered as qualifying asset. What to consider from exam point of view, I'll discuss at the end. But I hope you have understood. Correct. But AS 16 has specifically excluded two types of asset from the meaning of qualifying asset. Well, these will never be a qualifying asset. First, any asset which is acquired and ready for use or sale immediately. Means on the date of acquisition they are ready for use or ready for sale. Then it cannot be a qualifying asset. For example, you purchase a car by taking a loan. So car is ready for use immediately. So it is not a qualifying asset. It is not a qualifying asset. So assets that are ready for its intended use or sale when acquired are not a qualifying asset. Second, they have also excluded some inventory which are routinely manufactured. Routinely manufactured. What do you mean by routinely manufactured? Means there are some inventory which are manufactured based on customer demand. Means only when there is a demand will manufacture, otherwise will not manufacture. But there are some inventory which will be routinely manufactured even though there is no demand. Means based on production cycle. Are you able to understand what I am saying? So that is routinely manufactured. Means we will not wait for customer demand. We will manufacture. Understood? So they are routinely manufactured in large quantity on a repetitive basis over a short period of time are not a qualifying asset. So any inventory which are routinely manufactured in large quantity in a short span of time, short period of time is not a qualifying asset. Otherwise, it can be a qualifying asset. Means suppose you are producing, if you are producing any standalone equipment, one equipment, which takes more than 12 months, it can be a qualifying asset. It can be a qualifying asset because it is not in large quantities. It is not in large quantities. Understood? Okay. So if this para is applicable, then that inventory will not be a qualifying asset, then interest will never be capitalized. Interest will never be capitalized. Okay. Yes, sir. Then the third point is how to calculate the amount of capitalization. How to find out the amount of capitalization, means which amount will be capitalized and which amount will be charged to PL as an expense. For that purpose, entire borrowing has been divided in two parts. One is known as specific borrowing, one is known as non-specific borrowing. Specific borrowing means used for a specific purpose, and any borrowing which can be used for any purpose are non-specific or general borrowing. So for specific borrowing, the formula is very simple. Find out actual cost of borrowing, actual borrowing cost, actual borrowing cost incurred during that period. From that, we'll deduct any interest income on the temporary investment of funds. For example, you have taken a loan of 10 lakh. Correct? And the rate of interest is 10%. So what is your borrowing cost? 1 lakh is borrowing cost. But right now you don't require 10 lakh, you require only 6 lakh for the expenditure on qualifying asset. So 4 lakh is not required. To 4 lakh you have temporary investment outside the business. So how much you have invested outside the business? 4 lakh. And because of that investment you are generating, you are earning an income, your rate of interest is 8%. So it means on 4 lakh how much interest you are earning? 8%. So how much interest is saved? 4 lakh into 8% how much? So it means net borrowing cost is how much? 68,000, and 68,000 will be capitalized. 68,000 will be capitalized. So first find out borrowing cost on loan, then deduct any income from temporary investment. The net amount will be capitalized. Net amount will be capitalized. Let me ask you one question. Abhi, this much you have understood. This much you understood? I will try to confuse you. This is the concept. If you have understood concept, now whatever you are thinking extra, it is a point of confusion. This much you understood? So let me ask you one question. Suppose you have taken a loan on 1/4. So 1/7. 1/7 means 1st July. Of 10 lakh at a rate of interest of 10%. Year end is of course 31st March. Year end is 31st March. Out of these, during the year, expenditure incurred on qualifying asset is 6 lakh. How much incurred? 6 lakh. This is specific borrowing. Batao, how much borrowing cost will be capitalized? You're tired? Tired हो गया तो I will leave. You're tired or you are capable of studying? Not tired na? You are feeling sleepy. You want tea? I made good tea. You want tea? Coffee? I came here, my flight was at 4 a.m. in the morning. I wake up at 3. Until now I have not slept. Then also I am in the class. Directly I am coming. Then also I am teaching you ना. ठीक है ना? तो थोड़ा सा matching concept ना. Correct ना? Matching. If I am matching, then you should match me ना. Okay. You are also tired. So I am also tired. बोलो. Means what you have done? 10 lakh. How you have calculated? I don't know. 10 lakh into 10% into 9/12. How much? This is the answer. Akka. Everyone getting this? Huh? Pakka? अरे बोलो yes or no? How many are not getting this answer? Miss some alternative answer. देखो, 1 second, you need to respond. Otherwise, what will happen if you will not do mistake यहाँ पर? You will do mistake in exam. There is one mistake are always good, but if you commit and realize it. Normally what happens? Suppose I am solving it. Someone said this is the answer. I said correct. You said okay, this is the very easy. I can also do. But this you can't do because you are not trying by your own. If you are not solving by your own, you will not realize that what mistake you can do. This may be correct, this may be wrong. What is your answer give? If this is okay, okay. I will say my answer. So how many are saying this is answer? How many is giving some alternative answer? Bolo. What you have done? 6 lakh into 10% to 9/12 is equal to 40. How many are saying 45,000? So there are two answers now. I was also expecting two answers. And one is correct, one is wrong. But try to understand. If you are just concerned about some other answer, so in exam you will do wrong only. You need to realize that yes, I have done mistake. Realization is very important. Yes, I am doing mistake. I need to rectify it. That is more important. Getting correct solution will not help you. Doing wrong answer, then try to correct it. That is more important. This is correct. This is not correct. Understood? Now those who have done this, they are not able to understand this particular point. What I have done, I said 10 lakh is the loan. I have not given any expenditure incurred. And I have said 6 lakh is incurred and 4 lakh is not incurred. So that is invested outside. That only I have said now. So what is the correct? Actual borrowing cost incurred irrespective of expenditure incurred during capitalization. Now what is capitalization period? I will explain at the end of the class. Means I need to also explain capitalization period. Understood? But I hope you have understood entire borrowing cost irrespective of expenditure incurred. Means suppose we have taken a loan of 10 lakh and only rupees 1 is incurred. This will not happen practically. This will not happen practically. But we need to apply AS 16. So as per AS 16, on 10 lakh borrowing cost will be capitalized. Practically impossible example. But just try to understand, only 1 rupees has been incurred. Borrowing cost on 10 lakh will be capitalized. Borrowing cost on 10 lakh will be capitalized. Understood? Have you understood this point? Yes, sir. Now coming to non-specific or general borrowing. Non-specific or general borrowing. For this, I will take one example. From that example, I will try to explain. Because if I will read, there are some points you will not be able to understand. This is one of the favorite question. That favorite question only I will take. Means that question have been asked n number of time in exam. This is the question. I think you have done this question many times. But then also I will try to explain my way. To listen. X Limited began the construction of new building on 1st Jan 2007. It obtained a 1 lakh special loan to finance the construction of building on 1st Jan 2007. Means 1 lakh is specific borrowing. At an interest rate of 10%, the company others outstanding non-specific loan are itna 5 lakh at 11%, 9 lakh at 30%. Means there are two non-specific loan, one specific loan. The expenditure that we have made on the building project were itna at respective dates. So these are the expenditure incurred on qualifying asset during the year. Building was completed by 31st December 2007 following the principle of AS 16. You need to calculate the amount of borrowing cost to be capitalized. Favorite question. Once again, CA final, so they have asked this question many times. Now, in this question, normally a doubt comes in exam hall. Here doubt will not come. That only doubt. The financial year end will be 31st March. 31st 12. This is one of the major doubt. I mean, right now, ho sakta you are not thinking, if you are only thinking about solution. But in exam, the doubt will come. If financial year is 31st March, or financial year end is 31st 12. Because we need to go as per the information given the question. Don't try to fight with the question. Rule is simple. In exam hall, don't fight with the question. But the prima facie, what is the year end? Prima facie, what is the year end? 31st? That is year end. Don't fight with the question. Dekho, building construction started 1st January. Ended on what? 31st 12. If you change it, the entire question will change. Entire question will change. Entire solution will change. So we need to go as per the emotions of the question sometime. I know it is difficult from a student point of view. But then also make a rule. Don't try to fight with the question. They have given simple information. 1st Jan, 31st 12. What will be year end? Prima facie, what is the year end? 31st. So why you are changing it? I always say in my class, exam hall is not a place to show your knowledge. Exam hall is a place to score what? Marks. Understood? You will show your knowledge once you become CA. Got this point? So don't fight. However, nowadays what I am observing as per ICI's question paper, nowadays they are not confusing. They are just writing year end is 31st 12. Means nowadays in every question they are writing. Means they also have realized their mistake. So this is a question I have taken from many years before. So nowadays they are writing year end is 31st 12, year end is 31st March. But not written. Think about the emotions of the question. Okay? Understood? Now, in this, first what we'll calculate? First we should calculate borrowing cost. First borrowing cost on specific borrowing and non-specific borrowing. Specific borrowing it is 1 lakh into what? 10%. And case it is outstanding from the beginning. So 12 by 12. Always think about it is outstanding for how many months. It is outstanding for how many months? 12. Then non-specific borrowing there are two loans. Loan 1, loan 2. Loan 1, loan 2. Loan 1 it is how much? 5 lakh into 11%. So you will do 5 lakh into 11%. If nothing is given, it is given outstanding. The outstanding from the beginning to here also it will be 12 by 12. But be careful, in your exam question, it is quite possible they have given it, the loan has been taken at the mid of the year. It will be 6 by 12. Okay. So this is coming how much? 55,000. 55,000. Similarly, there is a 9 lakh, no? 9 lakh or what? 9 lakh into 13%. And this is also outstanding from the beginning. So it will be 12 by 12. It will be how much? 1 lakh? 1 lakh 70,000. What is the total of these two? 1 lakh 72,000. The total of these two is 1 lakh 72,000. Understood? So this is the borrowing cost on specific borrowing. This is the borrowing cost on non-specific borrowing. Now what our AS 16 says that if there are two or more than two non-specific loans, two or more than two non-specific loans, so we need to calculate one average interest cost. Means we need to calculate one capitalization rate. It is nothing but weighted average rate of interest. As per AS 16, it is known as capitalization rate. So in exam, use capitalization rate. CR. CR means capitalization rate. So how to find out capitalization rate? You will take borrowing cost on non-specific borrowing divided by total weighted borrowing fund. Time weighted borrowing fund. Means this 5 lakh is outstanding for how many months? So you do 12 by 12 as you do in EPS, earning per share. Same, this 9 lakh is outstanding for how many months? 12 months. I am just writing 12 by 12 to inform you that if suppose this loan has been taken for 6 months, we will do 6 by 12. Understood? This is very easy because both loans are outstanding for the entire month. And into 100. So what is the capitalization rate? 12.8. 285%. 285%. This become capitalization rate. Understood? This much. Now third step, we'll calculate one average expenditure. What will calculate? Average expenditure. Average expenditure depends upon the date of expenditure. So in the Jan month, how much? 2 lakh. So we'll say Jan 2 lakh. So this expenditure has been done for how many months? 12 months. So we'll do 12 by 12. It will be 2 lakh. Then what? April. What we are recording? April. April how much? 2,50,000. How many months? Month is what? 9 by 12. How much? Correct. Then what is given? July. July is 4 lakh. July is 4,50,000. How many months? 6 by 12. How much? 2,25,000. And last is December. December is 1,20,000 into 1 by 12. How much? 10,000. So what is the total? 6,22,500. So this become total average expenditure. Correct. Now you only say this expenditure will be first from specific borrowing or non-specific. First specific. So first we'll say out of this how much is from specific and how much is from non-specific. Correct. It means can I say for this we will say 1 lakh into 10%, that is 10,000, means actual borrowing cost. Means for specific borrowing, entire borrowing cost will be capitalized irrespective of expenditure. Irrespective of expenditure. Understood this keyword? But for this, we will to only capitalize on 5,22,500 based on capitalization rate. So what is the capitalization rate? 12.285%. How much it is coming? 64,183. So what is the total borrowing cost to be capitalized? Total borrowing cost to be capitalized is 74,183. 74,183. This is the total borrowing cost to be capitalized. Means any borrowing cost which is not capitalized. So out of 1,82,000, how much not capitalized? So 1,82,000 minus 74,183. How much? 1,07,008. 11 पक्का ना, 74183 बोलो. 1,82,000 minus 74,183. 18. This is 9. Okay, 9. Chalo. Now how much? 11. Yes. And so this will be charged to PL as an expense. This will be charged to PL as an expense. Understood? Correct. After this, I will ask one question to you. Huh? So listen carefully whatever I am saying. No, don't ask me doubt right now. I will come to your doubt. I'll come to your doubt, but let me complete it. This average expenditure you have understood? Can you say we can do in this way also? Instead of calculating average expenditure, can we do in this way? If for Jan, the expenditure is what? 2 lakh. The expenditure 2 lakh. So specific borrowing how much? 1 lakh. Non-specific borrowing how much? 1 lakh. So we'll say 10% into 12 by 12. That is 10,000. And 12.285% into 12 by 12 how much? 12,000. 12,285. Okay. For April, it is how much expenditure? 2,50,000. So entire will be non-specific borrowing. So we will say 2,50,000 into 12.285% into 9 by 12. We can do in this way also, na? Answer will come same. Either do in that way or this way. Answer will come same. Mathematics, it is simple mathematics. Now, how many of you used to do this way in your previous classes? So you follow this way. How many of you used to do in this way? So you do in this way. Both are correct. Both are correct. Means either you do in that way or this way. Your answer will come same. It is your choice what you want to follow. But this is more comfortable, I will say. This is more easy to apply in exam and chances of mistake is also less. Okay. Now I will change the question. Okay. Let's see how many of you are doing correct. But before that, your doubt. Once. In this type of question, they will not give interest income because entire specific borrowing has been utilized. That point will only come when specific borrowing is not fully utilized. So in this question, that point will not come because entire 1 lakh has been used for expenditure. Understood what I am saying? Not able to understand? Non-specific borrowing, there is no point of interest income for, because that can be used for any purpose. It can be used for further investment also. So for that, this interest income wala point is not there. Understood? Only for specific borrowing is because specific borrowing is used for a specific purpose, that is for construction of building only. So if you have temporarily invested here, it means you have saved some interest. If you have saved some interest, that will not be capitalized. Understood? Yes. If you have understood this much, can I ask you one question? Let's see how many of you can do it. Okay. Same question, entire question remains same. Only I will change the expenditure. Means your capitalization rate will remain same, 12.285. Okay, na? So I am just giving Jan, it is 50,000. Feb, no, Feb not, April, na? April, it was how much? So April it become 4 lakh. Then July 4,50,000 and December 1,20,000. If you can do it correctly, means you understood all my emotions. If you are doing wrong, means my help is required. I think the difference you understood. Difference you understood? Do. Means your capitalization rate remains same 12.285 because loan information remains same. Only I have changed the expenditure. What doubt? Any doubt is there? Interest rate remains same 10% for specific borrowing and for non-specific 12.285%. That is capitalization rate. You start from average expenditure or directly you do that. If you are using this, you can do directly this also. Means that depends upon whether you are using average expenditure wala method or you are doing in this way. That is your choice. Okay. Everyone do your own calculation. Don't see the other. Don't ask others because in exam you don't have your friend with you. Okay. Done. Done everyone. Still doing? Done. Done. Chalo, batao. What is the answer? You are giving me borrowing cost to be capitalized, na? Bolo. What is the borrowing cost to be capitalized? Final answer. 71,908. Any other answer? 69,582. Third answer? 867. Fourth answer? 72,000. 71,000. 867. 4 option over. Now we are going to go against what? Multiple choice question. If any other answer? No, same don't say. Okay, that rounding of difference. Acha, this 4 answer only means exactly you are as per MCQ's requirement. How many are getting option number 1? Arey, who said this? Only you, only one person. How many are saying option number 2? Chalo. Option number 3, option number 4, तो बैलेंस व्हाट यू आर सेइंग? ऑप्शन नंबर 5. हाँ हाँ 80 83,381. चलो ठीक है. नाउ आई विल डू. मीन्स वन थिंग इज क्लियर, देयर इज समथिंग लैकिंग. मीन्स you have understood but you have not understood. Chalo, what you have done? Achha, you have done average expenditure or the direct method? Average expenditure. So for Jan, you will take 50,000. This is from which borrowing? So you will take 50,000 into what? 12 by 12. 10% directly you are doing. First I am saying average expenditure. Then for April, it is 4 lakh. But in this specific borrowing, how much? 50,000. And non-specific borrowing, how much? 3,50,000. But this will be for how many months? 9 by 12. 9 by 12. How many taken 12 by 12? Huh? Now, how many have done 12 by 12? How many done 9 by 12? So, how many done 12 by 12? No one have done 12 by 12. So, this is correct. 12 by 12 is correct. Means that only you need to understand difference between one question and second question. What I said, for specific borrowing, borrowing cost will be capitalized irrespective of what? Expenditure. Means entire borrowing cost will be capitalized. And if you are taking 9 by 12, it means you are not capitalizing entire borrowing cost. So thoda sa you need to apply common sense. So now whenever this type of questions will come, what is my suggestion? Ki first out of this, now eliminate what is specific borrowing. Then calculate average expenditure. Means average expenditure only calculate for non-specific portion. Means this minus 50,000 and this minus 50,000. Then for balance you calculate was average expenditure. That will be for which borrowing? Non-specific borrowing. Because 1 lakh, so total borrowing cost will be capitalized 10,000. Irrespective of expenditure incurred. The expenditure can be incurred at any point of time. Can be incurred at any point of time now. So if you have done 9 by 12, means you have not understood that emotions, which I have said initially only. Got this point? Now you do what? This is 9 by 12. Now balance will be same. So this will be 50,000 only. You can see this will remain 1 lakh. Because on 1 lakh you need to apply 10% and 10% will be 10,000. 10,000 will be entirely capitalized. So you can't make it less than 1 lakh na. Are you able to understand? Same thing. I think those who have done average expenditure, they have understood your mistake. Let's see those who have done directly, they have done correct or not. So for Jan, you have taken 50,000 into 10% into 12 by 12. How much you have taken? 5,000. Then in Feb, you have taken 50,000 into 10% into what? So here also you have done mistake. Anyone who have taken 12 by 12 here? But here it is high chances you will be able to understand. No, it will be 5,000 only na. And therefore I will say this is more comfortable. You can apply your common sense more in this. This is thoda difficult to understand average expenditure. Because already I have said borrowing cost and specific borrowing will be entirely capitalized irrespective of expenditure. So this will be 12 by 12 and then balance you do as it is. Now same question if asked in exam, will you do mistake? No pakka. This is the benchmark of this chapter. Normally students don't understand this particular point. So thoda slight change in the question become difficult if you are not able to understand the concept. Got this point? Doubt? Doubt hai? Doubt? Understood? Pakka? Yes. You want answer? No, answer will be the, achha, you want correct answer. Chalo, correct answer kar lete. So this is the 5,000. Then for 3,50,000, 3,50,000, into 12.285% into what? 9 by 12. How much? 32,248. Then 4 lakh. चल ना 4,50,000 ना 4,50,000 into 12.285% into 6 by 12 is equal to 641. Then last में 1,20,000 into 12.285% into 1 by 12. How much? 10,1228. Now can you give me the point? Ignore na rahi. Total. Means in exam you write. I am not writing because I am in hurry. Total. 70, 73, 71,170. 117. ठीक है बाबा 71,117. Now happy? This is not this for this so you have calculator na. I'm not concerned about calculation. Calculation you can do because you have calculator. The concern is this. Have you understood this part? Calculation so most of you will do correct because you have calculator. Okay. So I'm not concerned about amount. I'm concerned about concept. Okay, so now the same question will come. You will be able to do it. Specific borrowing you have understood. Non-specific also you have understood. Okay. So this part done. Chalo. So with one question I have explained the entire non-specific borrowing. Whatever is given that I have explained. One thing is clear that amount of capitalization, amount of borrowing cost capitalized should not exceed actual borrowing cost incurred. Should not exceed the actual borrowing cost incurred. Correct? Now that is only given. The amount of borrowing cost that an entity capitalized during a period shall not exceed the amount of borrowing cost it incurred during that period. Okay. This point number 4 is very important, but till now no question of this nature have been asked in CA Inter. Expenditure to which rate is applied? Expenditure to which rate is applied? Let me ask you one question. Suppose you incur some expenditure on qualifying asset. Correct? You incurred 1 lakh, but out of that 80,000 is paid. How much expenditure incurred? But how much is paid? 80,000. Now accounting we do on which basis? Accrual basis or payment basis? Accrual basis. But the question arises, borrowing cost means the capitalization rate will be applied on 1 lakh ki 80,000. 1 lakh ki 80,000. 1 lakh ki 80,000. No, 80,000. I said na ki this is thoda higher level. This actually is a point of CA final. CA final they are asking this type of questions. But you don't know when ICA think CA inter mein laga diya. Because AS16 also discuss about this. Because just try to understand when I am saying borrowing cost, the borrowing cost is on expenditure which has been used from the funds. So when you are using fund, when it is incurred, when it is paid, means you have taken a loan of 10 lakh. So 10 lakh is used when you have paid the amount or when you have incurred it. When you paid the amount now, means this loan amount is used when the amount has been paid. Therefore, borrowing cost means for calculation of borrowing cost, capitalization rate will be applied only on expenditure on actual payment basis. Actual payment basis, not an accrual basis. Correct? 2 marks MCQs can be asked. Till now, to not asked. That is given. The amount of expenditure on qualifying asset include only those expenditure that have resulted in payment of cash. This I am not discussing. This will be through a higher level. I am not going into that. This too you have understood. Then one more point, from which also question has not been asked, but you don't know. I am just explaining the point. If suppose asked, you should what? Praise me. Yes or no? Just try. Apply common sense. Apply common sense. Let's see how many of you are giving correct answer. Now you have taken a loan of 50 lakh. This is non-specific borrowing. Okay. Now you have incurred 10 lakh here and the capitalization rate is supposed 12%. So first year it will be 12% on 10 lakh. For non-specific borrowing, expenditure into capitalization rate, na? So expenditure is what? 10 lakh into 12%. How much has been capitalized? 1,20,000 has been capitalized. Understood? Correct. Next year again you incur 12 lakh expenditure on the same qualifying asset. Quite possible. This is a long-term project. Construction is going on. Correct. Now on this 12 lakh means for the next year your expenditure will be what? Of course, can I say 10 lakh will come? This 10 lakh will come. Then 12 lakh again incurred, this will also come. I think in this to no doubt, 10 lakh plus 12 lakh both will come or not? Bolna re. Now the question is that whether 1,20,000 will come, interest, means to calculate expenditure on which capitalization rate will be applied, whether this 1,20,000 will be considered. Yes or no? Huh? Yes or no? I am giving thoda sa hint. When I am saying expenditure on qualifying asset, so borrowing cost is an expenditure, is it not an expenditure? Expenditure, and that will be paid from where? From the fund only, from the loan taken. That also will be paid na. Interest will be also paid to bank. So that will be also from loan amount only. Not able to understand. When I am saying expenditure, so expenditure will include borrowing cost also. Borrowing cost also is one of the component of cost price of PP or not. So if you are saying all other directly attributable expenses, the borrowing cost is also one of the directly attributable expenses. So if you are considering these two, so why not this? So what AS 16 say that for the next year, interest which was capitalized in the previous year will be also part of what? Expenditure on which capitalization rate will be applied. However, till now at CA interlevel, this type of question has not been asked. So if you have not understood, leave it. But if asked, you can't blame me because I am not teaching everything. Correct? But I hope you have understood. Understood or not? This is given this point. The average carrying amount of the asset during a period, including what? Borrowing cost previously capitalized, is normally a reasonable approximate of the expenditure to which capitalization rate is applied in that period. Correct. One more common sense question. This question can be asked in multiple choice question. Similar question has been given in ICA multiple choice question, but not it asked in exam. Correct. Apply your common sense. You purchase inventory whose cost price is 10 lakh and borrowing cost is capitalized because it is a qualifying asset. So borrowing cost will be capitalized. So borrowing cost to be capitalized as per AS 16 is 2 lakh. And NRV is equal to 11 lakh. Bata, what you will do? Cost price is how much? Borrowing cost to be capitalized how much? 2 lakh. NRV is how much? 11 lakh. Apply common sense. How much borrowing cost will be capitalized? How much borrowing cost will be capitalized? How much borrowing cost will be capitalized? Achha, if you will capitalize borrowing cost, it will become 12 lakh. But it is more than what? Which is against in AS2 or not? Which is against AS2. So what AS 16 says? What AS 16 says, try to understand this point. When the carrying amount of the cost of qualifying exceed is recoverable amount for PP, for impairment, or NRV for inventory, the carrying amount is written down or written off in accordance with the requirement of other AS. Other AS means AS2 or AS28. AS2 or AS28. So in this case, you capitalize 12 lakh, but compare with 11 lakh, so 1 lakh will be charged to what? Profit and loss account. It means borrowing cost to be capitalized cannot exceed what? 1 lakh in this. Understood? So if you want to capitalize 12 lakh, but then also you compare it 11 lakh now, means how much will be written off immediately? How much will be transferred to PL account immediately? 1 lakh will be transferred to PL immediately. So they will ask you the carrying amount of inventory. The carrying amount of inventory cannot exceed what? 11 lakh. good question can be asked in multiple choice question, till now not asked in exam. With MCQs, the importance of this question has increased. Importance of this question has increased. When there was no MCQs, I used to say they will never ask this type of questions, because for 5 marks so they will never ask this question. Correct? Have you understood this point? Aage chale? Yes, sir. This also you have understood. Now the last point: when to commence capitalization, when to suspend capitalization, when to cease capitalization. I hope you are familiar with this point. So when to commence, when the 3 conditions are satisfied. 3 conditions. When to commence capitalization means when to start capitalization. Okay? So when 3 conditions are satisfied, what are the 3 conditions? Ki borrowing cost means, expenditure on qualifying asset has been incurred. Second, borrowing cost has been incurred. Third, it undertakes some activities which are necessary to prepare asset for its intended use. Means when this all 3 conditions are cumulatively satisfied, then we'll capitalize borrowing cost. First condition is what? Expenditure on qualifying asset is started. Second, it incur borrowing cost. Third, it undertakes some activity which are necessary for the production, construction and acquisition of qualifying asset, even though physical construction is not started. Means even though physical construction is not started, you will commence what? Capitalize. For example, just try to understand. I'm just giving one example. Suppose you started, you have taken a loan at this point of time. So your borrowing cost is incurred. Correct. You started means planning, etc. for construction. So your expenditure will be started. Planning is started. And then you initiated some activities which are necessary for what? Construction, acquisition or production of a qualifying asset. So all these 3 conditions are satisfied at this point of time. So you will commence capitalization at this point of time. You will commence capitalization at this point of time, even though your physical construction is not started. Even though your physical construction is not started. Understood? Are you able to understand this point? Have you understood? So that is only given कि this include technical, means this activities include technical and administrative work prior to the commencement of physical construction. Means even though your physical construction not started, but you have started some activity which are necessary to prepare the asset, then also you can commence capitalization. Okay? When to suspend? When to suspend? Suspend means temporary suspension of capitalization, means in that period will not capitalize, that period will charge borrowing cost to PL account. But that is temporary suspension, not permanently seized. So when to suspend? When the active development is interrupted due to unnecessary activities. Due to which activities? Unnecessary activities. Means your active development is stopped due to some unnecessary activities. Unnecessary activities means which was not under your planning. Means for which you have not done any planning, means which were not known to you, which were not known to you. I'll give you 2 examples, you will be able to understand. 2 examples I will give. Correct? Just try to understand. Now, this Chennai is prone to flood. Am I right or not? Chennai is prone to flood means in the heavy rainy season flood will come. Everyone knows this or not? Yes or no? But Hyderabad is not prone to flood because there is no river only there. So how flood will come? Heavy rain is there, but no flood. But Chennai is prone to flood. Now in Chennai, building construction is going on. Heavy rain came, flood started, and for 2 months no construction. But will you suspend capitalization? Will you not suspend capitalization? You will not suspend because can I say this was known to you? Flood will come, was known to you, so this is not unnecessary activity, this become necessary. So whenever you know about that information, flood will come, to you have planned for that. If you have planned for that, no suspension. But in Hyderabad city is not prone to flood. But suppose in one of the season there was heavy rain and flood came. Quite possible. Super heavy rain destroyed everything and construction stopped. In that case, it was not planned. In that case, borrowing cost will be suspended. Borrowing cost will be suspended. Understood? I have given best example. I think you have understood. आगे चलें. तो capitalization of borrowing cost shall be suspended during the extended period in which active development of qualifying asset is interrupted due to unnecessary activities. हाँ, sometime active development is interrupted due to necessary activities. For that, no suspension. When to cease capitalization? When the asset is ready for its intended use or sale. Once the asset is ready for its intended use or sale, then will permanently cease capitalization. Then further there will be no capitalization. So once the asset is ready for its intended use or sale, then borrowing cost will be ceased. But the capitalization of borrowing cost will be ceased permanently. This is the rule. Understood? Have you understood? Means, can I say in this way? If I say in this way, okay, this is the date of loan, this is the date of construction, correct? So during this period, it will be capitalized or charged to PL. Means construction started from this date. So during this period, borrowing cost will be capitalized or charged to PL? Charged to PL, because expenditure not started. Yeah, expenditure started from this date, and you will commence capitalization from this date. Means this borrowing cost will be charged to profit and loss account. Correct? At this point of time, suppose active development is interrupted due to some unnecessary activities. So can you see, we'll suspend capitalization here. Means this borrowing cost will be capitalized. This borrowing cost will be capitalized. And suppose at this point of time we recommence construction. Means here construction stop, here we recommence construction. So during this period, borrowing cost will be charged to PL. Correct? Now once again we'll recapitalize, means once again we'll recommence the capitalization. Recommence the capitalization. So here we'll capitalize, here we'll capitalize. And after some point of time, the asset is ready for use. So ready for use. So once the asset is ready for use, then after this, whatever borrowing cost is incurred, that will be charged to profit and loss account. Okay. It means your capitalization period will be this plus this now. You need to find out what is capitalization period. So capitalization period will be the number of months when we are doing capitalization. When we are doing capitalization. So this type of MCQ question can be asked, what is the month of capitalization? You need to find out the month of capitalization. Understood? Chalega? Yes, sir. The last question. Last question. Suppose you are doing a construction of building, and two buildings you are constructing by taking one loan. Loan is what? 50 lakh. Correct? But there are two buildings. Now this building has been completed, but this building is not yet completed. Building 1 is completed, building 2 is not completed. Can we cease capitalization for building 1? Yes or no? Yes, if it can be sold or it can be used without building 2. But if this building cannot be sold, building cannot be used without building 2, and without building 2 is fully constructed, then you can't cease. Means you need to understand whether these are separable or it is not separable. So if building can be sold separately, building can be used separately, then you can cease capitalization for building 1. But building 1 cannot be used separately, building 1 cannot be sold separately without building 2, then we cannot cease capitalization for building 1. Okay, sir. With this, entire point of AS16 is completed. Then one more point, last point, exchange difference. This is also important, but the time is, you can listen. I can understand from your face. Now gone case. Chalo, theek hai. So this last point I will do tomorrow, because from your face I can understand you can't. Then last day was AS16. For the last point was pending. That is exchange difference arising from foreign currency borrowing, which is allowed as an adjustment to interest cost. Now what AS16 says that if there is any foreign currency borrowing, so whenever there is a foreign currency borrowing, so you all know that there will be some exchange difference. It can be exchange loss, it can be exchange gain. So exchange loss will be considered as borrowing cost to the extent of some amount, and that will be considered under AS 16. And if it is considered under AS 16, and if all the condition of AS 16 is satisfied, then that exchange loss can be capitalized. However, if it is not covered under AS 16, then as per AS 11, it will be transferred to profit and loss account. So what is that amount of exchange difference which will be allowed as an adjustment to interest cost, that we need to understand. So what our AS 16 says, that treatment of exchange difference from foreign currency borrowing. So there can be two cases, either there will be exchange loss or there will be exchange gain. Am I right or not? If there is an exchange gain, it will never be allowed as an adjustment to interest cost. And exchange gain will be always covered under AS 11, and therefore it will be always transferred to profit and loss account. So exchange gain, very easy. However, they will never ask a question of exchange gain. They will ask only a question of exchange loss. But you don't know, just try to understand. If you will not discuss exchange gain and suddenly in exam exchange gain questions come, so most of the students will be doing wrong because they are not revising that point. So you should consider that yes, if there is an exchange gain, then it will not be covered under AS 16, it will be covered under AS 11, and as per AS 11 it will be transferred to profit and loss account. But if there is an exchange loss, then what is that amount of exchange loss which will be allowed as an adjustment to interest cost, that we need to understand. So what AS 16 says, that it will be lower of, means the amount allowed as an adjustment to interest cost will be lower of A and B. Will be lower of A and B. So A is amount of exchange loss, A is what? Actual exchange loss, and B is what? The difference between interest for foreign currency borrowing and local currency borrowing. Local currency borrowing. So that interest rate will be given the question, nothing to worry. So if you would have taken the same loan in local currency, means in rupees, what would be the amount of interest that you need to calculate? So you need to find out a difference between interest for foreign currency borrowing, then interest for local currency borrowing. That difference will be the amount, point number B. A and B, whichever is lower, will be the amount of exchange loss which will be allowed as an adjustment to interest cost. Let me take a simple example, or let me take one question only, which is given in our expected list. I think it is given. Okay. So let me take that question only. What was the question? This question, question 5. Very popular question. It can be asked either as a 5 marks question, it can be asked for multiple choice question also. Okay. So XYZ Limited has taken a loan of $10,000 on 1st April 2003 for a specific project at an interest rate of 5% per annum, payable annually. On 1st April 2003, the exchange rate is how much? $1 is equal to 41 rupees. $1 is equal to how much rupees? 45. The exchange rate on 31st March at year end is equal to 48. Now it becomes from 45, it becomes 48. So if the exchange rate is increasing, means the dollar rate is increasing, it means we need to pay more amount for the loan, so it becomes an exchange loss. The corresponding amount could have been borrowed by XYZ in local currency at an interest rate of 11%. If the same loan would have been taken in local currency, then what would be the rate of interest? 11%. Calculate the borrowing cost and exchange loss. What will be your answer? Means they have asked one more question. What will be your answer if the rate of interest in local currency borrowing will be 13%? So there are two situations. First, 11%. Second, 13%. First, we'll do what? 11%. Correct now. Okay, sir. Are you able to understand? So let me do the solution part. Okay. So it means first we need to find out point number A is an exchange loss. We need to find out exchange loss. So exchange loss, what is the amount of foreign currency borrowing? $10,000 multiply by the exchange fluctuation. So initially it was 45, then it become 48, means 3 rupees difference. Correct. So we'll do multiply by 3. Multiply by 3, it means it become 30,000. This is point number A. Now we need to find out point number B. Point number B means what? First we need to find out interest by using which rate? Foreign currency borrowing rate of interest. So it is $10,000. $10,000 multiplied by the rate of interest. What is the rate of interest for foreign currency borrowing? It is 5%. So into 5%. Then can you say we need to convert into Indian currency? So we'll do multiply by 45 or 48. Now one doubt will come, we should multiply by 45 or 48? 40, 45 or 48? 48, because can you say interest is payable at the end of the year, and at the end of the year it becomes 48. This is the area where you can do mistake, even though you know, but in exam high chances sometimes we don't focus and some small mistake happen, correct? So multiply by 48 minus, this is the interest in foreign currency borrowing. Now you have to find out interest in local currency borrowing. So can you say $10,000, if the same amount would have been taken in Indian currency, what would be the amount of loan? So now you will multiply by 45 or 48? 45, because the loan would have been taken at the beginning of the year. That time the rate was what? 45. So multiply by 45, and the rate of interest is how much? 11%. So can you give me what is this amount? This amount is what? 24,000. This is 24,000 minus 49,500. Achha, we have done ulta, sorry, my mistake. This should be here. This should be here, okay. So 49,500 minus 24,000. So what is the difference? 25,500. We'll take what lower? So lower is what? 25,500. It means out of total exchange loss, what is the total exchange loss? 30,000. How much will be covered under AS? Something wrong? How much will be covered under AS 16? 25,500. And how much will be covered under AS 11? The difference, 30,000 minus 25,500. How much? 4,500. So two type of question. If it is multiple choice question, they can ask what will be the exchange loss which is allowed as an adjustment to interest cost. Then what will be your answer? Exchange loss which is allowed as an adjustment to interest cost. Then what will be your answer? 25,500. Or they may ask how much exchange loss which will be covered under AS 11. Then what will be your answer? 45,000, 4,500. Or if they may ask what is the total borrowing cost? What is the total borrowing cost? What is the total borrowing cost? देखो MCQs become more dangerous. Multiple choice question become more dangerous because they ask one specific thing, and if you are not able to understand the emotion what they have asked, with the options will be confused. So if they ask what is the exchange loss which is allowed as an adjustment in interest cost, what will be your answer? If they ask what is the exchange loss covered under AS 11 transfer to PL account, then what is your answer? If they ask what is the total borrowing cost, the total borrowing cost will be 24,000. 24,000, this is the borrowing cost, plus 25,500. This is also covered under AS 16 ना? अरे बोलना रे. One is the normal interest in foreign currency borrowing. So interest in foreign currency borrowing how much? 24,000 plus 25,500. How much? 49,500. So this becomes the total borrowing cost. Total borrowing cost, which will not exceed this amount. Which will never exceed this amount. Understood? Correct? Now, if it is 13%, can you do by your own? 11% I have done, 13% you do fast. 2 minutes. Fast, 2 minutes. Question. The question remains same, only 11% become 13%. If you have understood this, then you can do now. Only this 11% become what? 13%. So why you want question? Huh? What is 13,500? Achha, you are giving me the answer. What is the answer? Chat box. Chalo. What is the exchange loss? Exchange loss remains same. How much? 30,000. Then point number B, first difference between two interests. Now, the first interest will be, what is it? Means, what was $10,000 multiplied by 45 multiplied by 13% minus $10,000 multiplied by 5% multiplied by 45. This only. So this is coming how much? 58,500 minus how much? 24,000. What is the amount? 34,500. We'll take higher or lower? Lower. Correct. It means out of 30,000, what will be covered under AS 16 and how much will be covered under AS 11? Out of 30,000, how much will be covered under AS 16? How much will be covered under AS 11? 30,000 entirely will be covered under AS 16. And how much will be covered under AS 11? Nil. At nalak, nil. How 4,500? Out of 30,000, how much is covered under AS 16? 30,000. So how much is covered under AS 11? Nil. Try to understand what I am asking. In MCQs, it become difficult. Okay? So what is the exchange difference which is allowed as an adjustment to interest cost? What is the answer? Listen what I am asking. Correct? MCQ dangerous. 2 marks. Gone. Okay? What I am asking, try to understand. Don't give me any answer. Huh? What I am asking, what is the exchange loss which is allowed as an adjustment to interest cost? 30,000. Now correct. Now listen carefully. First listen. Because option, there will be 4 options. One of the option will be your option. You will tick that. 2 marks. Gaya. Correct? So what is the exchange difference? This is the exchange difference which is allowed as an adjustment as an interest cost. What is the answer? 30,000. How much exchange loss will be covered under AS 11? Nil. And what is the total borrowing cost? What is the total borrowing cost? Batao. Total borrowing cost. So total, bolo. Total borrowing cost how much? The 24,000 plus 30,000 is equal to 54,000 is the answer. This is not the answer, na? This cannot exceed this amount. So 24,000 is the actual borrowing cost in foreign currency borrowing plus the exchange loss which is allowed as an adjustment to interest cost. So it is 24,000 plus 30,000. What is the answer? 54,000. Understood? This is very popular question, very favorite question in CA Inter. Now in MCQs also this type of question can be asked. Okay, sir. Done. Don't say yes till you understand. Don't say yes till you understand. Okay. Chalo. Done. Now the AS16 is covered from my point of view, but one more question is very much popular question under AS16 is this type of question. I don't know why it is popular, but normally this type of question they ask. Question number 1. On 24/2003, JLC Limited obtained a loan from the bank for 50 lakh to be utilized as under construction of said, purchase of machine, working capital, advance for purchase of truck. In March 2004, the construction of said was completed and machinery installed. Delivery of truck was not received. Total interest charged by the bank for the loan for the year ended itna is 9 lakh. So the treatment of interest under AS16. Correct? Now just try to understand everyone. Ki on 24/2003 the loan was taken and in March 2004. In March 2004 means can we say 31st March 2004? If I am saying March 2004 means 31st March 2004. So of course it is more than 12 months. It is more than 12 months. Now you need to identify out of this what is qualifying asset, what is not a qualifying asset. So can you say construction of said, if it is taking more than 12 months, it will be always a qualifying asset. But doubt will come for purchase of machine. Because purchase, you have taken one machine and it was installed, but they have not given the time period when it was installed. So it depends upon your assumption. But what I will say, if they have given purchase and nothing has been given, so always assume it is not a qualifying asset. Means if the word is purchase and nothing is given, so always assume it is not a qualifying asset. However, you can also assume it is a qualifying asset. But the point is that what information you are giving. You may say that installation will take more than 12 months, or even though it is less than 12 months, based on judgment, it can be a qualifying asset. Correct now? So how you are writing the answer depends upon that. But as per ICA solution, what they are saying, if purchase has been given and nothing has been mentioned, they are assuming it is not a qualifying asset. But if they are using the word construction, development, if nothing is given, even though it is taking less than 12 months, even though it is taking less than 12 months, but as per judgment, we can assume it is what? Qualifying asset. So you can see construction, they have assumed what? Qualifying asset, and all these three they have assumed what? Not a qualifying asset. So this interest will be charged to PL account. This will be always capitalized. Now how much? So the total interest will be allocated to all these four based on their expenditure. Based on their expenditure. So you can see the expenditure is given this, and total is equal to the loan amount. The total will be always equal to loan amount. Correct? Till now, whatever question has been given, if total is not equal to loan amount, so be careful. Be careful. Now this interest 9 lakh will be allocated in this ratio. Will be allocated in this ratio. This is one of the favorite question. I don't know why they are asking this question, but they are asking. There are two, three more question in your ICS study matter of this nature. Can you do it by your own? One question can be asked of how many marks? 5 marks. There is one more question which I like. One more question is this nature. You can see similar question number 3. You can do it by your own. In this, they have taken some other assumption also. Means just read the solution, you will be able to understand. Okay. This, I like this question personally. Harish Construction Company is constructing a huge building project consisting of 4 phases. It is expected that full building will be constructed over several years, but phase 1 and phase 2 of the building will be started as soon as they are completed. Means can I say phase 1 and phase 2 can be used even though the construction of phase 3 and phase 4 is not completed? It means, can I say, the last point of last class, yesterday class, what I have said, if the part of the building is completed and the other portion is not yet completed, and we can use the first phase, whatever work has been completed, then the borrowing cost on that portion will be ceased, that point only. So phase 1, phase 2 is completed and can be operational even though this construction is not completed. Therefore, the borrowing cost of phase 1 and phase 2 will be ceased, but the borrowing cost of phase 3 and phase 4 will not be ceased. The first point you have understood. Now they have given cash expenditure. But we want cash expenditure or accrued expenditure? Means capitalization rate will be applied on expenditure which is paid or expenditure which is accrued? Which is paid. Last point we have said. But in this case, cash expenditure is given. Thank you very much. However, they have not given how much accrued. If they have given how much accrued, that is not relevant. What is the relevant? Cash expenditure. I said that till now in CA Inter, that type of question they have not asked. But can I say this information is only relevant cash expenditure? We want cash expenditure only. Or bol de yes. Then building purchase, how much? 24 this. So this become total expenditure and we want total expenditure only. Correct. And the total expenditure of all phases 221 and the loan taken at a rate of 15% at the beginning of the year is 200. Correct. Now can you say because the loan amount is less than expenditure amount, then in that case the borrowing cost to be capitalized cannot exceed the actual borrowing cost, and therefore we'll calculate interest on 200 or 221? 200 only. So your actual borrowing cost will be 200 into 15%. How much? 200 into 15% how much? 30 lakh. It will be 30 lakh. Now 30 lakh should be allocated to all this. 30 lakh should be allocated to all this in the ratio. So phase 1, phase 2, what is the total expenditure? 34 plus 64, 98. And phase 3, phase 4, what is the total expenditure? 55 plus 68, 123. So you can see this 30 lakh has been allocated to phase 1 and phase 2 and phase 3 and phase 4 in this ratio. Allocation you can do. Allocation has been done and you can see what is the interest allocated to phase 1, phase 2 will come this, and whatever interest allocated to phase 3, phase 4 will come this. Just check whether the amount is coming same or not. This allocation you can do now. Amount is coming same. Now you say this 3,30,317 is an expenditure of 6 months or 12 months? Six months or 12 months? How 6 months? If 30 lakh is for 12 months, so this will be also for 12 months only, na? Why you said 6 months? I don't know. I don't know. This is the interest of how many months? 12 months. This is also interest of how many months? 12 months. Now I need to see during the mid of current year. This point I have not read that time. Phase 1 and phase 2 have been operational, means you only say phase 1, phase 2 become operational in how many months? 6 months. Means you will capitalize for how many months? 6 months, and balance 6 months will be charged to profit and loss account as a expense. But phase 3, phase 4 is not yet completed, so entire 12 month interest will be capitalized. It means out of 3,30,317, how much will be capitalized? Half. Half will be capitalized. Now, why you are calculating? Half will be capitalized and half will be charged to PL as an expense. And out of 16,69,683, the entire will be capitalized. This is the answer given here. Good question or not? Once again, simple but interesting. Have you understood this? This question, I think not yet asked in exam, but can be asked. Can be asked. Good question. Chalega, can you do it by your own? With this AS16 is covered from my point of view. AS16 more or less I have covered. AS16 is important from exam point of view.